Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kuser, and I don't know, today I want to talk about something different. So I brought some comics from an artist that I really admire, that is Frank Miller. No, we are not gonna talk about just, yeah, we're gonna talk about a specific um, comic run. It was his Sin City comic run, but at the same time, I just want to talk about my perspective on the artist and how he inspired me to be a better artist myself. And even in his own terms, Frank Miller described his work as he was drawing with his dick, and I can relate. So without further ado, we're just gonna, analyze through my lens and give you my opinion of why he is one of the artists that inspire me, besides Jack Kirby and who else. It's a lot of artists that inspire me. Sometimes I have the list in my mind, some other times I'm just forget it. Um, but well, whatever. Mark Bailey is another one. Who cares? So we start with the classic one. This is the first time that I saw the artwork on this book. It was an instant love. So the Hard Goodbye is kind of like my favorite comic, not just for its really palatable imagery and like visual language. It's more of how Frank Miller used the contrast to make simple images relevant and pop to the eye. It was more artsy, and Frank Miller had a lot of tricks. Most of these compositions and art designs are kind of like negatives of kind of like how you probably will relate light and shadow. So it was something new, something fresh to the entire comic book art form, the ninth art that I call comics. So if you see, his art always was controversial, a little bit sexual in nature, but his compositions and the way that he presented characters was really palatable to me. This is not kind of like a over review of the story. You can go read the entire story if you want to. This is more of an analysis of why I think Frank Miller is still relevant to the art form. And if you're paying attention, you will see why. Oh, and I'm sorry if my book is all fucked up. It's just because I always buy books secondhand. I'm not a collector. I'm an artist, but who cares? Who cares? I'm somebody who analyze art and appreciate comic art. That's why I'm involved in comics, because I actually love study them, analyze them, and at the same time seeing it through how the creators of every piece that comes across to me executes his, I don't know, his his imaginary direction through the story, how he hits different beats and how he makes a story that probably will be simpler be more interesting and captivated to the eye of the reader. And Frank Miller did all of that for me. He opened doors to my imagination that I ain't even knew they were there, bro. If you can see, well, we can skip a little bit, but his compositions, the how would I put it? The sequential art was so on point. Did you will see these panels moving by his own in your mind. You know what I mean? So that's why he's one of my favorite artists and one of my inspirations. If you see, we can appreciate how he takes advantage of this art style that I call negatives, and he practically used a simple composition and with just a little bit of light, and you know it's kind of like it's turning negative, but it's oversaturating the lights at the same time. So you practically are you just using the lighting parts of any object. So it was so creative, so innovative for me, and he used this style in creative ways, in a lot of creative ways. He used shadows and light to evoke a sense of motion and intrigue that I actually love and I appreciated from all his career. But Sin City was when he he just went all out, just all out, like no breaks. Like bro, just push the pedal to the metal, and he went insane. I'm telling you, his compositions, the way that he just make his character, there is Mark, look so awesome and menacing at the same time, bro. It's the shit that always gets me. It's the shit. And the art design, the art direction of this comic is just, it's chef's kiss, bro. Chef's kiss. And you can see the same treatment, the same care, the same love in all of the rest of Frank Miller books that were on this run in Sin City. And basically, he was just really, really experimenting. Okay, we already kind of like analyze and kind of like appreciate the art of these for the one of these his books, one of the most famous books that is I always fucking The Hard Goodbye. I always fucking forget the titles, but go get this one if you are a really good fan of comics, and probably you're a comic artist. You can learn a lot just with a different look to the artwork from different artists. And I recommend you to just get involved in the world of Sin City, bro. Frank Miller doesn't fucking let you down. He's one of the greatest for well, for lack of the better terms, he's one of the greatest because he got the balls to just do whatever he wanted to do. That's a thing we cannot found in this present day, because we have a bunch of like really, really feminine men. They are telling other men how to be men. Never mind. Next book is The Big Kill. The Big Fat Kill. I'm sorry. I don't have the fucking time to memorize all this shit, you pieces of shit. Okay? I'm just showing you why it's important to appreciate art. Okay? So, The Big Fat Kill is another entry for Sin City. Most of y'all, you already know this story. It was featured in the movie. Yeah, it's a movie about Sin City. If you didn't watch it, go watch the movie. Um, but the comics are the shit. I always love the shadow work of Frank Miller, his inking style, the details, his over rendering at the time, sometimes from some panels. But this title has the same treatment as The Hard Goodbye, and it has the same care, the same love, different story, different flavor, but it has the same impactful imagery that I love from Frank Miller. And we see the contrast of how he used a page turn to emphasize in one scene that is intense, and how he uses the page as a way to not just make a composition but actually make you think how this works, how the shadow works. It's like it's more cool that he's not over rendering this illustration, because your mind have to kind of like work and finish the entire image for you as a reader. You know what I mean? It's like it's expanding a little bit of your imagination. So that's why I really appreciate his artwork, and it speaks to me specifically because, like Frank Miller says, this comic was personal to him. Okay, so um, the same in the same way that he worked on his comics, and it's the same. Well, his approach on comics is kind of like my same approach. It's like I really knew that I didn't have a lot of people working for me to color my comics, make it look more palatable for the masses. But why I can relate is the, just do what you love. And even though you have a project that probably will be in black and white, take advantage of that. So I learned a lot from him, based just on that, how the limitations for this personal comic, because he talks about Sin City as a really personal project. So you see the dedication and the love and the care and all kind of like let's say the art direction that he took to bring all these stories to life. And I love it. I really do love it. And I always recommend to newcomers, new readers, to just grab a copy of any Frank Miller work. You can grab 300, that shit is fire. You can grab what else? The Dark Knight. I think he's the Return of the Dark Knight. Yeah, The Dark Knight Returns. God damn it. Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm a fake geek girl. I'm telling you, I'm a fake geek girl. But you can grab any of his works. He has even a samurai book. It has a different kinds of genres and styles uh, for any of his projects, and I really do love him for it, because he really expand my horizons of what is possible to publish, and the levels of care that you need to put on a, on a project, and how make that impactful in comic form. I learned a lot from him, a lot. And I really do think if you even if you're just a comic fan, grab a copy of any of his works, appreciate it, get immersed in it, and I don't know, you probably will understand wh- from where I came from with my analysis of his work, because you will probably will find it really cool. It's like high tea content that doesn't exist anymore because we are surrounded by a bunch of trans people and queer individuals. So everything has to be Disneyfied and gayified for the modern audience. I'm just glad the culture was relevant. Like people culture it, like Frank Miller created these pieces of art. So the rest of us, we can learn and actually understand how comics work and how we can, expand the limitation of this medium. I really do appreciate people like Frank Miller. Well, other lefties and, you know, agitators and hypocrites and bipartisan political figures in art and media, they're just trying to infiltrate. It will say that my points of view are so radical, but at the same time their points of view are so moronic and doesn't hold any sense or any real ground in any philosophical or realistic manner. That's why they want to destroy art. That's why they our art and our taste for art pieces is been declining. Is why is why even if you're trying to experiment and innovate this art medium, you'll be targeted by these individuals because they really do they are actually afraid of good art, because good art can actually um, touch people, can change people, it can bring another perspectives and another points of view or new ideas to people. So activists are always afraid of art, and they always try to destroy artists that are actually free, like Frank Miller, to just create what actually men, grown ass men, want to read, not just bunch of babies and lesbians. But we live in a different era, you know. So go grab the Big Fat Kill if you got the opportunity. Grab other copies or other projects from Frank Miller, any project if you want to, because, bro, I'm gonna wrap that up with one of the other famous ones, the Yellow Bastard from Frank Miller. This is another classic one, and I think that with this one, I'm out. I'm just here jumping on YouTube, you know, just telling you my bullshit to, you know, just have some views. I don't know, and probably someday became a famous YouTuber and a faggot like most of these individuals that I'm surrounding in the nerdom sphere. But if you like this kind of content, please subscribe, ring the bell. Well, click the bell, ring the bell, or whatever the fuck you wanna do. Okay? So please join this crazy family that is Kuser Comics if you want. If you don't, I don't care. But let's dive into the artwork of the Yellow Bastard. That's another Frank Miller project that is every fucking page is a masterpiece. I actually really do think that he actually was immersed on this story more than the hard goodbye. I think the Frank Miller was really involved in the main character of this story, because his story is really heartfelt, and the art kind of like match goes in the same match the same levels of the narrative. So I think he was more thoughtful on his compositions on this one. um, it wasn't too so much like an artsy fartsy project. It was actually thought through, and he was seeing scene after scene and trying to create the most out of it, and he actually achieved it. The way that he uses contrast, how he uses the negative inking, the way that I'm calling it, to bring about these simple minimalistic compositions, but at the same time impactful. They are just cool to look at, and he always was really creative. And even creating new characters, or well, not creating but introducing new characters, he knew how to catch the eye of the reader, or even just other artists. Well, I know that this is not high art like some European faggots around YouTube will say, some individuals that are just infesting comics. But Frank Miller, even though his art has been changing, look at that. Just look at that. Even though his art has been changing, I think that his relevancy in culture, in the ninth art, is untouchable. Even though, yeah, you can talk bullshit and shit about his new art style, like Frank Miller is too old, is too stupid now, why he's still drawing. Okay, you piece of shit. But he's Frank Miller, and you are a piece of shit who is watching me talking about Frank Miller. You piece of shit. You are nobody. So shut the fuck up about Frank Miller, okay? Piece of shit. So, yeah, I will say that his art is really cool. So I would recommend to anyone who is a really look at this shit. Just look at these compositions, bro. To whoever who is actually a comic fan, to just grab a copy of any of these books, please, and enjoy life, enjoy comics a little bit, and appreciate how beautiful, like these panels. Look at how beautiful comics can be. Remember what they they destroy and take away from you. Remember what we used to be. So yeah, go grab a copy of this comic. Remember a little bit of how masculine men used to be and right. And yeah, go enjoy it. So yeah, I will see I think it does enough for me for tonight. Yeah, so I don't have nothing else to say than thank you for the real ones who are just still hanging out with me and dealing with me. And for the rest of faggots and pieces of shit, I will keep an eye on you, okay? So until the next time, okay?